Hello, YouTubers. I'm sure I've shifted all my focus and stuff out of the background here. Joe Kersey here on Friday, April 6th at 20:20 in the evening Eastern Time. We're now having a nice little rain and have had for about the last hour. God bless us, everyone. And it's been a very, very pleasant day. The major part, well, the main event was a meeting with at the Red Door Tavern out on West 5th Avenue in Columbus, Ohio, with Ms. Catherine Trombitis, who is a development officer for the medical school at Ohio State, who wanted to have lunch with me after I gave $1,000 to a scholarship fund in the College of Medicine. Her counterpart last year had also taken me to lunch, but I think Ms. Trombitis is just a bit sort of like higher up the hierarchy. It's hard to tell. The job titles don't really mean very much to me. But anyway, she had been at Ohio State considerably longer than the individual last year, and she'd actually had a fairly varied background. I mean, she had taught personal finance at the university, and she'd been involved in the nursing school and so forth, and now she's moved over to the medical college to do some of this stuff. And so she's been around. I mean, she was clearly, she's been around in terms of this, how to get people to give. Why do, I guess more to the point, why do people give? What motivates them to give? How can you, and I think really the real issue she really wanted to get me to talk about was, how do you approach people to get them to give money to scholarship programs at the university, from which they graduated, or just in general, I suppose, without alienating them as they get to a stage in their life where they've reached a certain amount of financial security such that they can start giving money to things. And I think we had a fairly reasonable discussion about that, actually. In my case, it's, a lot of it's out of Christian motivation. And in other people's cases, it'll be because they really like the school and they want to give back to the school. In other cases, they think the program is particularly good. Other people will just, they've always wanted to give, but they couldn't do it because they thought it would deprive their family or jeopardize their families financially. And the issue is, then how do you find any given individual to target them such that you don't alienate them by repeated solicitations? So we talked about that a bit. Yeah, of course, it's always good to go to the Red Door and eat a Reuben sandwich. So, yeah, it was very nice to meet this individual and talk with her, and yeah. And, I said to her, I've thought about how, as part of my estate planning, I might set up something that I can give enough money that will generate, say, $2,000 a year to a scholarship. Well, I'd like to name it, in honor of my dad, but it could either be in the Ag College or the College of Medicine. Yeah, yeah. This is the time of life when you start thinking about these things, and you know, if you can do them, no, not everybody can do them. I mean, I couldn't do it until relatively recently, so and I'm very grateful I can now. So then I went up to All-American Optical, let's see, All-American Eyeglass Repair on Bethel Road in Columbus, which has been around, actually it's been around for quite some time. It's been around for over 20, almost 30, over 30 years now. I think the guy that's running it now is the son of the guy that was running it when it was started. And they've resuscitated any number of pairs of glasses of mine, you know, where I've had a great creek drunk and mashed them, or in the last case, the sister pair of these glasses got run over by my computer chair here that I'm sitting in one night after I just sort of fell asleep in the chair and they fell off my face. The guy says, oh, we can laser weld all this stuff back together and re-drill things. It'll be just fine. He says, this is at 1:30 in the afternoon. He says, I can have them for you by 3:30. I said, well, can I come back tomorrow morning? And you're like, you know, around 10:30 tomorrow morning on Saturday. He said, oh, yeah, sure. So I'm going to get out and pick these things up. It's going to be about, not quite $100, but it's better than buying another one of these. Well, first of all, they don't make these frames anymore, you know, let alone have to buy, you know, have new lenses made and things. So, you know, cheap at enterprise. The pair he's working on, the set he's working on, they've resuscitated those frames now. This will be the 4th time they've brought them back from the dead. These guys are really good. Now, that way I'll have 2 pair of these for the trip over to England. And then I'll take another spare pair in addition to that, just, you know, God forbid some disaster happens. So that's about it for today. I've been watching some YouTube. I had an extensive Skype with a friend of mine. I may have mentioned that, but I can't really talk about any of that content because it's all very, very sensitive personally and financially. So I can't. Anyway, it's always good to talk with this guy, and we didn't get too simple, or I didn't get too simple. Well, we both tend to get feed on each other and get a bit simple. We didn't get too simple. So bye-bye, YouTube.